Good morning, everybody. It's Phil, the miniature model maker, coming to you today with Gundam Artifact Phase 3, Model 12, Zeta Gundam. It's, this is going to be an interesting build. See, there's our box. Woo. Um, and our instructions. But holy smokes, some of these parts are teeny, 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 tiny. Like these shoulder pieces are smaller than my pinky nail, and the average size of a shoulder is closer to my middle finger or my index finger. So there's going to be a fair amount of pieces going around today, and possibly some cursing. Um, but I did do just a little bit of testing yesterday, looking at the instructions. They didn't include order of operations. So one thing I noticed here is when you've got parts 7, 6, and then 8 and 9 on the shoulders, you're definitely going to want to put these back pieces in before you do the shoulder piece, which is why they're already on the body. So this is part 6, part 7, and part 8 on there. So I wanted to confirm and see what the best way to do it is. And that's going to be the best way to avoid issues with this, and just to be able to get these parts in easier. All right, so let's get started. Then again, this is a build guide. We'll go step by step for all of this. And first pain point I can see is part 12. It looks like it goes into the arm and could potentially move, but I think the glue is just going to seep in there and is going to fix that in place. We will find out when we get there. So I'm going to leave that on the sprue for the moment. And there's part 12, itty bitty 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 baby piece. About the same size as some of these head pieces, which is unusual. Looking at the rest of it, also the size of the kit, you're looking at a 0.1 or a 0.15 scribe. Here's my 0.2 scribe, and even some of these bigger details are in the 0.2 range. Yeah, a 0.2 will make the details a little bit easier to see. We'll widen the gap out a bit, but otherwise you're definitely looking at a 0.1, a 0.15, or even a pin. Where are you? Or even using one of these, just the round tip to get in there. So detail at your own risk. This may be one where detailing is not suggested based off of the size. We'll see when we get there. After doing yesterday's test on priming and dry brushing on poor crash test dummy Bob's legs, it's pretty clear to me that on these, given a primer and then even just a dry brush, going through and trying to panel line, you're going to want to scribe out these details as much as possible. So what I did yesterday, go check that video out. It's in the one-off paint list. But I primed this one black, primed this one gray. Black being a very common color to prime miniatures for tabletop wargaming. Gray being a common color for priming Gundams. And then I dry brushed the same dark gray and then a light gray over it to see how the shadow and depth, the value from light to dark would work, and then how well it panel lined. And it was pretty clear clear to me which ones I had done. I used Bob to practice on, and which ones I had not. Uh, so you want to do your detail work on these if you're planning on painting them for sure. But go check that video out. Again, it's in the one-off paint and build playlist. And we're going to start now with our big old gun. So parts 12, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And the first piece I'm going to cut, the hand, it's the most delicate. The rest of these are nice, big, chunky panels or pieces where we don't have to worry about stress breaking. And that looks to be the case for a lot of the parts on this kit. Of course, you always want to take your time and make sure that you're doing your cutting carefully. But overall, overall, this looks pretty good. Probably won't have too many bad sprue marks, and on the places that they are, at least on this gun, and maybe some of these wings, they're big flat panels. Oh, so it will be easy to clean. All right, there's that. 10. So sprue A, 10, and 11. And again, they were, excuse me, they were very nice to us and gave us these compression pegs for the shoulders, which will make for good part separation to paint. And I don't think there's going to be much gluing on this today. We'll see. And I'll see if I get to the head. And that may go, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4 parts for the head. And there's all small pieces. Okay, 10, 11, 12. Oh, golly. Okay. Being very careful here, because this is a small piece and won't take a whole lot of sanding before it gets really damaged. And we're going to put that on the instructions. 13 and 14, 13 and 14 here. Hey, I see somebody in the channel. Hope things are going well for you. Pretty sure I know who you are. Make sure to like it, please. Do that whole YouTube thing. Comments for the algorithm god, likes for the like god. Okay. And 14, 15. Okay, so we've got this and the hand on the gun. That's a pretty clear pretty clear placement. However, it's not a good piece for a C-clip. So you're actually looks like you're going to want to cut this whole section off and just have a little tab that you can slot in and eventually glue. If you're going to want to paint the gun separately, and that goes in well. And I'll tell you, I've been getting all of these Japanese content creators showing off their Phase 5 kits. I'm jealous. I'm very, very jealous. All right, and we'll just put this in here. This is just a peg and hole assembly, no tabs or anything going through the gun. Here we are. So a pretty simple build, nice robust piece. That'll be there. Sections, where am I? So sections here, then may be a little tricky to clean up if you get glue there. And a lot of joins between rounded mold sections here. That's going to need to be cleaned out. And yeah, we're at a 0.1, possibly a 0.2 there. But otherwise, that's a nice big hefty gun. And now comes the part I was not looking forward to. We're going to take just a second and sand this down. Give that a nice touch to clean up a little bit. This is a very thin piece. So be careful putting that together. And even more careful cutting it out. All right, and going to give the edge just a touch to even it out. It's not molded 100% straight. Here we are. And then a touch on the other side to get rid of mold lines. And then light brushing. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so the instructions, we have part 10 like this. And it looks all right. That goes in there, and there is a little bit of a slot. Let's see. So here's the hole for the peg on part 12, and there's a slot here with will allow a little bit of movement, but we all know that's going to get stuck when we glue. Guarantee you. Can I do this with just my fingers and nails? Probably not. All right. You go in like so. All right, that sticks in kind of nicely. For what it is, it's fairly secure. Oh, gracious. And now there's a nice big peg and then 2 slots. So these go up. And it sits like that. And we'll gently, gently, come on. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You did. I was really hoping we wouldn't have to glue this today. This, thankfully, this looks like the biggest trouble point on the kit. Is this little section here. So once you get this done, the rest of it's pretty good to go, but it's getting this part done. That's going to be the real challenge. Because they have to line up just right. Haha. Haha, good. There we go. And no, it doesn't really move, which is good. There we go. One shoulder done. And now we have the gun. It's going to go in this direction, and there is a tiny little tab in this front right corner and a tiny little slot right there to make sure that everything lines up. And there we are. Excuse me, let me grab some water here. The arm done. That was about as painful as it was going to be, not as painful as it could have been. And we're going to jinx ourselves now, having said that, with the other arm, starting with 17, 18, 19, the hand, 20, the little bit, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So here is the next big challenge because it has a separate hand, which I don't know why they did that. Maybe they had a little extra space on the sprue that they wanted to fill up. Or perhaps they knew this was going to be a very popular kit and wanted to make it as detailed as possible for the folks who wanted to go hog wild on their builds. And I can see why people would want to. This is a very nice kit. Not sure I'm a fan of the big wing things in the back, but the basic body of it is very nice. All right, here are those. So we would, and then 23 and 24 on sprue B, 23, 24. Not some great gating on this one. And some angled parts. So be gentle. Expect to have to do damage control. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, give our little parts some sandpaper. Where'd you go, sandpaper? There you are. So in the comments below, folks who watch this, let me know which kit you want me to detail first. So these are just the initial build guides to give folks an idea of how to build their kits in the future. And I have all of these kits, so you can feel free to look through every single phase of Artifact and let me know which one you want to see done first. Because I think the 60-minute mission videos, they're not going to need to be in order. Some of these I'm not going to want to spend as much time on, like the gym Thunderbolt, and having to force myself to go sequentially on the real detail part of it is going to wear me out. And I want to make sure that I have still enjoy doing the building while I'm doing it. Okay, this hand has some mold lining on it, so just gentle sandpaper should get all that off. And it might be something that you want to do once you've got it glued into the arm. Okay, that's there. Oh, yeah, where are our shoulder pieces? We need 21 or 22. They are right here. Sprue A, 21, 22. I think this might be the smallest of the kits that I've done so far. I think they had to make the bodies, they had to scale the body down a fair amount to be able to fit the wings and things in the back and keep them at the size where they can put them on a sprue because these are kind of big. Yeah, and then that too. I bet you they did. I bet you that's what they had to do. Scale the body down. Which, oh boy. Okay. Did I? Okay, something seems weird about this. Oh, it's because the peg is on the arm, not on the shoulder. Okay, that's disaster averted. We're fine. All right. That's interesting. Okay. So let's find 21, which looks like you. And we're going to put the arm in first. I may regret this when it comes time to put that piece in. We shall see. But looking at the arm here, we have our normal ring clip with a tab up here. That tab is just to keep it oriented in the arm. Since it's now attaching, the arm itself is attaching to the body, you're not going to get any left to right articulation, so you may as well just keep that there so everything else stays aligned, and it's a peg. Very nice. And now we get to do this. Hopefully that arm will protect this little thing enough that it's not going to be a problem when we're putting the other part on, the other part of the half of the shoulder. But it is... No, 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 no. Go back, go back, go back. Here we are. And we're going to hold you down. All right, that's a little bit loose in its hole. It was loose enough that the pad of my fingertip pushed it up. Okay. Hold our breath. Put the other half on. This big peg goes in the arm, and the other little pegs hold the other pieces in. And are they aligned? Yes. Push. Aha. There we go. Okay. So it looks to me like, okay, on the shoulder you're going to have to push pretty far. Definitely would clean up those pegs a little bit just to prevent gapping. But yeah, nice. Now, did I just really screw up order of operations? No, we didn't. There's not a tab for the arm to go into plop. But just to be safe, put the arm together first before putting the other half of the shoulder in. And the hand too. Now the hand, you could make a nice C-clip, it looks like. But we got to take this apart. There. All right. So the hand, there, the peg is on this side. And it fits nicely into place. No. Again, another part where a clip is not going to work out as well. But again, it's the hand on the arm and you want that secure. So I don't think that's a net loss. It's probably a good thing. So there we go. Okay. So let's check out this part. There are some detailed divots in here along the seam line. This one's going to be fine. That's about a 2 mil, 1.5, 2 mils. This little guy is good. This whole line right here is going to be harder to clean. And then up in here, let's flip it over. Another part here and here. Overall, I'd give this probably an 8 or 9 out of 10 for difficulty of cleaning once you've glued it. So keep that in mind. But that's the price we pay for having them give us nicely detailed kits, right? So there's that arm, and then, we gotta do this. I'm so excited to get to the body, and things are going so generally well. I'm just kind of like, hey, da da da. Now you. Okay, there you are. Yeah. Again, like any thin piece that gets connected by a peg, close your peg down, and that'll go together nicely. And this is well done. These are nice, clear, molded details. Will be really easy to scribe, even if you don't want to do extra lining along these panels without them. There's plenty along this to get your detail. Okay, and then this section here goes into here. And I'm going to guess it's not going to want to stay. The depression in this piece is not terribly deep. And that usually indicates to me a part that isn't going to want to stay on for very long. We will see. But there we go. It may be a good idea to not put this on until after you've stuck the arm in the body. That's something to think about. Keep that aside until after you've messed around with this, because I'm sure I can see that popping off easily while trying to put the arm in the body. Now we're going to work on the body. Speaking of, so I have already done 6, 7, and 8, so we need to do 9. And that is on sprue C. And these, again, are delicate, thin, angled pieces. So careful when cutting them out to minimize damage control needed. And then 32, 33, and 34 are over here on sprue A. And looking at the Phase 5 kits, it looks to me like Bandai learned and made the molded panel lines thicker, wider, and deeper. They look really clear, like there will be a minimum of scribing necessary on them. I think it would be a wise move to run one through them just to smooth them out a bit and make your panel liner flow better. But they look nice and deep. All right, so we're going to put this part here like so, and there is a little tab over here and a slot here to make sure that they go correctly, because there's otherwise nothing to keep it from spinning around. So make sure you don't clean that off or damage it. Just so that it stays in place, because that's pretty clear that this goes in the back. But otherwise it'll just twist around. That's nice. Okay. And we'll give this just a touch, smooth that out, make sure it fits well in the other part. Boy, this is going much better than I thought. A lot faster than I had expected. All right, now. So this bottom peg is at an angle, and the hole is at an angle. So you're going to push it forward as well as down when attaching it. Okay, and there. Not bad at all. There. Oh, Chris, you forget when your computer goes to sleep and then it logs you out. That's funny. All right, let's take a look at this piece real quick before we go any further. Some nice gates. I don't know what you would call those. Nice detail there on the thruster intake. Really nice job on this thruster here. No molded lines on this. So any panel lining enhancement you want to do is going to need to be freehand. But there's still nice, deep, thick connections. Nice, robust, flat panels. It'll be easy to describe around. And in we go. All right. There we are. Now, this side, on the other hand, oh boy, tiny, tiny little divots. You're going to need a very small pin vise to handle. And smoothing these out is you're going to need to watch out for these panels here, but that's totally doable. Just have a fresh blade. And here, I'm pretty sure I saw a video of somebody who used a push blade, uh, a spin blade, or a really sharp chisel to enhance these bits. I'm not sure I would do that, but we'll have to see what happens when we put it on the body and how much of that's visible. Okay, and this part here, which is part what? Did I cut out an extra part? Huh, I did. I cut out part 31. All right, and give me just a moment. I will be back shortly. If you hear something weird on the microphone, that's one of my cats rubbing up against it. All right, we are back. So you go, there's a nice thick tab that goes right here. Pull up that. This may or may not stay well. So far, all of the, yep, that happened. I was going to say, so far, all of the connections are pretty good. They're not slipping around or coming off like parts on the other kits. So that's the body done. Now, who is messaging? Ha! That is YouTube telling me that I'm live. Holy cow! Imagine that. That's what I get for subscribing to myself. Okay, so now we have 37, 38, 39, and 40. We are done. We're going to do the head very last. $37, and we're on sprue C. Kind of obvious which ones these are on. Here we are. I have you spin me right round like a record, baby, in my head. So if you hear me whistling, that's what's playing on my current mental playlist. All right, those are done. And 39 and 40. 39 and 40. Boy, these are really cool. Some of these remind me of the Robotech, I guess the Mospita in Japanese, mecha that I loved so much as a kid. There we are. And here's a question for you. Again, I have a bunch of Macross models, and I understand this is the Miniature Model Maker channel, and I'm focused on these artifacts. However, they're not going to last forever, and I'm wondering. Let me know what you think in the comments below of building scale kits, full size, as I call them, full size models, not miniatures, but scale kits in the future, or maybe just as a um, palette cleanser. Now, one thing I want to be aware of is that changing content, or one thing I am aware of, is that changing content on a channel can often screw with the way it gets put up on YouTube, gets recommended. So if people start watching this Gundam Artifact stuff and then I start putting scale model things on and it doesn't do as well, that's going to hurt the visibility of the channel, and it's not something I want to have happen. So if you comment and you want me to do it, we got to make sure that people watch it. Okay, so looking at this part 40, tab here in front and 2 pegs. Just so. Just like that. And the other one goes on. Same, tab in front, 2 pegs. And done. Look at that. Lovely. I love it when pieces come together like that. This is really nice. And it's only at 48 minutes. I may have to start another build today. I am so motivated to get these done and enjoying these builds so much that I just want to keep working on them. But I can't be building them off stream. Where would my content go? Not that I'm actually making this channel for content. It's more a personal project to document everything. However, I do love doing these build guides. I think there's value in them. Because not everybody understands Japanese or Korean, which, as I often say, there are some very, very, very good videos in those languages. But very, very little here in the way of English language builds. And we have an empty sprue. So in the container we go. Woo! Yeah, I really like doing these guides. And I hope people in the future, you, future person watching this, enjoys it or enjoys the other content that I'm making for them. Because it's always nice to have people with the same hobby to chat around with and build a community around. There we go. Another leg done. God, these look so much like the Valkyries from Macross. Okay, and we're on to the wings. So the left wing, 25, 26. Right wing, 27. This is the right wing because we are always oriented from the rear. Right wing, 25, 26. Left wing, 27, 28. And then this piece, 29 and 30. Wow. That's got some detail to it. That's a nice piece. I kind of hate to say it, but building these things is making me appreciate Fetty suits more and more. Some of them are really, really good. And I think it probably just comes from the designs maybe being more recent, having a little bit more recent aesthetic that I appreciate more. I'm not sure about that. Okay, there we go. That was 25. This piece, very thin, gently cut. Same along here. That's going to be very difficult to repair and do damage control on, so just take your time, be careful. Better to have to remove a nub than to sand out a divot. There we go. Another empty sprue. In the container we go. So for those of you wondering what I do with sprue, I keep them. Put them in box. You can always use them to make terrain or sprue goo or other things. They're useful to have around to a point, and then they just get to be too much. But I also use them to make little painting things because I can hold it closer, smaller, and works well. All right, so one thing I just saw here, and we're going to confirm whether yes or no. Looks like no. Okay. The thing to be aware of when cleaning, this detail wraps around and it looks like little bitty nubs, and it's on here too. So careful when you're cleaning this section. You could, it probably wouldn't look bad. if you just took them out. Okay, now why do we have... Okay, I think I see what the plan is. Let's... Yeah, if you ended up smoothing this whole thing off and just taking out this section of that detail, I don't think it would look too bad. It wouldn't look out of place, and it's already 0.1. Yeah, maybe 0.2 or 0.3 mils thick. So I wouldn't feel too bad about cleaning that off. If you needed to, which I might do because it will be a bear to get in there and sand. Although, come here. That's actually doable. Mm-hmm. It's doable. It's doable. Don't worry so much about it, but also don't get all down on yourself if you do take them off. All right. And he's just pops in here like so. This is another one of those pieces where they have a very slightly raised edge and on a nice big flat panel. I don't know what those are. What's that? Why do they design it like that? What's that supposed to look like? Or is it just for general visual interest? Is it a thruster? But this part's got beautiful molded detail. Couple small little divots. And these wings also. Lovely, lovely lines. Some of these are molded, some of these aren't. And we got a really thin piece. So pick your battles. I'm not sure it's worth doing much scribing on these. It'd be way too easy to just go right through. And the same here and here. They're on either side. And you'll just go through. But seeing how this is blank and that's blank, it might be kind of cool to actually take those out and have more blank spaces there, and then nice connections. That could be a cool visual note. Also possibly here, just wear all that away and have an empty space. That would look a lot more like a real flap on a wing too. That's something to consider. Glad I looked at that. Okay. So that is the 2 wings and whatever that is. And now we're on 35 and 36. These 2 lovely little pieces. Nice piece. And empty sprue. No, I'm kidding. It's got the head on it. That's not going to go away yet. All right, so now we have this piece, and this piece. I've got my need has gotten to me. I have to smooth this out. I can only go so far. Can only go so far and so long before I have to clean up a piece. And there we go. Good enough. And then our body. And our legs. Foot front, toes in front. Now let's take a look at our leg. There is a big tab up here at the hip joint that one of these parts goes on. And it doesn't look like there are any directionals where you'd have to be concerned about it. Now here's a point to consider. There's a noticeable sinkhole right here, and it looks like there's some here too. Repair that before you put this on. So I've got a feeling it's going to be visible. Well, it depends on your tolerance for leaving things like that on a model. It's covered up enough that you really won't see it, but it's one of those things that you'll know is there, and if you're doing the detail work and are looking up close, you will probably notice it. Okay, and slot for a tab. There's a tab in the back. On we go. I'm just one of those people that if I know there's something that could be fixed, even if it's covered up, I will fix it. Your mileage may vary. There we go. Careful. Okay, so I just knocked that shoulder off. Putting that part on, so that's likely a glue one build. We'll see. And then part 31, the front. Here you are. There. Okay. Nice. And then we look at the back. let's go ahead and put, let's see, the arm first, or that first. Okay, so this connects to this little bitty peg. So for safety's sake, to avoid breaking pieces, I'm going to put the arms in first. And let's see if that arm shield stays on or not. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, no, it didn't. Almost did. Almost stayed there. And it does move. Whoop. So there we go. You can hold carefully, press without damaging another part. Yeah. So there is that. Glue. But glue after you've painted. Because there's some really nice detail up there on that arm and down under here. Okay. So now we're going to put in our wing here. That goes on pretty easily. That goes in. Not so easily. And then, ah, boy. Okay. All right. And that's just on a peg. We're not worried about that. That was just me moving it around. That it didn't break. And you are. Was I trying to put that in upside down last time? No, it's just the hole for the peg is a little bit too big for the tab itself. So it's not, there's not enough friction to hold it in. And now we put the arm back. Carefully. And there we are. There we are. And then we just give it a little light pressure to make sure that everything's in alignment and it stays up. Boo! Done. Do we want to try the head? No, I'm going to do the head off stream again because this is really fiddly, really nitpicky. And it looks like is going to take a fair amount of cleaning. So I'm going to glue it right away. Just looking at it here. So there's a slot in the top. How does the head actually go together? Okay. Hmm. There's a tiny little tab that looks like, okay, it's gonna, this interior tab is gonna go up against this piece here to hold it, to make sure it doesn't go back too far. And then there's a peg here at the back of the head that the rear of the helmet attached. So I would say do the front first, because this little tab is going to be harder to modify gracefully. Like, do I use 3 swipes of the sponge of the sand or 4? Whereas this little tab, the peg for the back of the head, will be easier to reduce in size in small increments. And then the crest, the V wing, is that what they're called? Is got a tiniest of tiny little tabs to go into the front of the helmet. Wow. Yep. That's a take your time, be careful, and glue. And there are, okay, you're going to want to sand the back of this head. There's some mold flash on there. And the same with the front, just to make sure that they get hit evenly. Or, let's see, let's try and do that now. If you have a nice chisel like this and that you could easily scrape with, yeah, that's working better, I think, than trying to sand it while it's stuck between your fingers. That's better, and we can do the same on here. Just be light, be careful. You don't want to be wearing down the side of the helmet. You just want to be taking out that little bit of flash, a little bit of extra plastic from the mold and the injection. Okay. And are there any mold lines on this crest? Yeah, kinda. So why not do that now? And I'm using the blade of my knife here so I could be really gentle, gentle with it. And the back of it is good for scraping down bigger things. But on these little fine pieces, the blade doesn't remove as much at a time. So it's a better tool for just gently scraping a little bit and a little bit and a little bit until it's finally smooth. And here we are. We will do the bottom after removing that. Anything here on the head, top of the head. Just a little bit. I'll give it a touch. It's hard to tell if that's a molded detail. So we're not going to mess with the back of the helmet. Okay. That's that. That is the Zeta Gundam done. And it only took us an hour and 10 minutes, maybe just an hour to build the thing. And 16 minutes of cleaning the head or using the loo. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I just wonder. Oh no. Well, poop. So yeah, here we go. So a little bit of a hand grenade. I'm glad that we got it all in one piece at once before it all came apart. But that's why we do these builds like this, so we can take them apart and get our details and everything on there. So thank you very much for watching this. I have been Phil, the miniature model maker, coming to you in this stream building Gundam Artifact Phase 3 Model 12 Zeta Gundam. Next up is one of the big boys, one of the popular ones, the Quebly. And I believe I haven't even touched this one. Not at all. So let's take a second and look at it together real quick. And this one's 4 full sprues, and I shouldn't say I haven't looked at it. I looked at it in the unboxing, but I haven't really looked at it since then. Ooh. Ooh, gross. Okay. The hands, those are fingers. Fingers. There are some fiddly bits on this kit. Let's take a guess and say that this is going to be at least a 2, possibly 3, or even 4 part build series. I have the feeling we're going to need to be doing some gluing and stuff during the build. Something's just telling me that that's what's going to have to happen. So we will see how that goes in the next stream. But D, C, B, and A. And again, thank you very much for watching if you've gotten this far. And I do appreciate your attention and the time you give me, and hope that I've had a positive impact on your day and on your time, and maybe help you hobby a bit, have my voice in the back while you're doing your own hobbying and building. So let me know what you build when you are watching these streams. What is it that you're working on as you do? But thank you again. I know I say it a lot. I do truly appreciate it. I put a lot of time and love into these things, and like, appreciate the people come to visit my little the internet. But remember, this is a hobby. If it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it. And please be good to yourselves. Bye bye.